client, right?
I don't know. Are you my client or is your husband my client?
I'm going to be your client.
Okay.
Well, I'm not planning on divorce.
No. Don't be mad at me. She said it, not me. So let's use some.
Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We are back for another episode here with Let's Keep It Real today. And right next to me, we have our friend over here, Abu with AMP Lending.
Hello, how y'all doing?
And then we have here a special guest.
Moi, Janie Ware. Nice to see you online, I guess.
So Jenny is my preferred and favorite lawyer in town. So I've been calling her and asked for advice a lot because, as you know, in real estate, we do have a lot of ups and downs with clients. And then sometimes I need someone to help me and guide me and see if it's legally possible to do certain things.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I take offense to that. I'm not just your preferred attorney. We are friends for a very long time. Family friends. We spend Christmas together, Thanksgiving together.
I'm sorry.
We have kids that are born within a couple weeks of each other.
Literally.
This is not like our first time to sit down next to one another.
No, but I just wanted to introduce that part. Yes, it's true. Jeannie is more than just a friend. She's a family to me. She's my cousin, and we're very close. Our kids are, like to say, a few weeks apart for some of them.
And she's really good at remembering birthdays.
Yes.
I'm not.
Awesome.
Okay, so today, go ahead, Jeannie, introduce yourself to all of us and tell us exactly what you do. And
okay, so my name is Janie Ware. I am an attorney here in Houston, Texas. I'm going to look around. Sorry. I know that's not part of it, but this is my first podcast, and I know I'm an attorney, and I talk in front of people for a living, but I'm feeling nervous. Just going to throw it out there. Okay, so I practice law here in Houston. My office is in Southeast Houston off of Broadway, 915 Broadway, phone number 713-609-9575. If you need any help, call me. I do immigration, I do family law, car accidents, probate, anything that you need pretty much, and also therapy is a big part of it because people come here with their problems, and I have to listen. And hopefully they walk away feeling better at the end of the day. But today we're supposed to talk about family law and the way that it
can affect real estate in general.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But before we start, I'm sure some of the people that are watching us, they wonder which type of skills you're probably going to need in order to be a good attorney, you know?
Well, you just have to tell yourself, I'm going to be an attorney, go to school. Anyone can do it. You just like anyone puts on their pants one leg at a time. There's not any difference between you, me, you, or yourself. Everyone just does what they feel is their calling in life. And I think that if you do that, you'll be good at anything that you do. So good attorneys are good attorneys because of the fact that they want to be an attorney.
Yes.
And
they're passionate about it.
yes.
Yeah.
So if you find what you like to do and it makes you feel good, then you're going to be good at it.
Yeah. And then they also have to be a good listener, huh?
Yeah.
Not my best forte, but I try every single day. I'm normally a talker, although it may not seem like it right now because I got a little nervous. I don't normally talk with a mic in front of me, except for if I'm going to pretend to be Mariah Carey and sing.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, for sure, being a good attorney also means, yes, loving what you do, caring about what you're doing, caring about people. What I do in my practice is more people-based rather than just transactional. I work in Southeast Houston, which is a very diverse area, but realistically it is very heavy in the Hispanic.
So you're fully bilingual.
I have not mastered Spanish, but I definitely speak Spanish now. I am not Hispanic, but I know how to read and write in Spanish now, and I have learned my Spanish, and actually I spend the majority of my day speaking in Spanish. Sometimes
She mastered it.
I forget my English.
I heard her talking in
A veces
Spanish.
no puedo hablar inglés.
She does speak Spanish really good and fast.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So that has to help out your business a lot as well, right?
Well, I can't work on this side of town if I don't speak Spanish because the majority of the
Clearly.
people speak Spanish over here. So yes.
How does it happen in a divorce case, for example, of someone who just purchase the property that's still on the owner financing.
Okay, so let's start maybe with the divorce process.
Yes, let's talk about divorce.
When a couple decides that they want to get divorced, what happens is that there is the idea that people have that whoever gets to the courthouse first is going to get the better deal at the end of the day. That's not necessarily true. That means that person is going to be responsible for paying court costs. Okay. That's the difference. Okay. So a divorce petition is on file with the court. Then the other party is served with the divorce. You have 20 days to respond. So let's fast forward. Let's say that the couple has a house, and then they have some property, 2 houses, 2 other properties that they rent out.
Okay.
They have their homestead where they live, and let's just say that they're from Costa Rica.
Okay.
And they own a house in Costa Rica as well. Okay, so we're in Texas. So Texas is a community property state. That means that everything is owned 50-50.
Okay.
So
anything you buy, anything we bought where we were married, right? Not before. If, for example, my husband owned a house before we got married, it's community only for everything we got together after marriage, right?
I don't know. Are you my client or is your husband my client?
I'm going to be your client.
Okay.
Well, I'm not planning on divorce.
No. Don't be mad at me. She said it, not me. So let's use someone else. You. Okay. So let's say you 2 are married.
Okay.
And she's my client. Sorry. You're going to get the short end of the stick. You guys own a house. And you own a house that you guys purchased together. You had a house that you had before you 2 were married.
Yes.
So since she's my client, my version is going to be that house is going to come under community property. Before we move forward with this example, let me take a step back and go through the divorce process first, and then that will better able you to understand how we're going to make sure she gets everything.
Yeah, I need to understand.
I'm going to get everything.
Okay, because since Texas is a community property state, that means everything is supposed to be half and half, 50-50.
Okay.
So anything that is purchased during the time of the marriage or any is 50-50. The only exceptions are if it's inherited or it was a gift.
Okay.
Okay, and not from your lover. If we find out it's from your lover, we're still going to try to get it from her.
So if my husband is cheating on me and he gets them from people,
He in trouble.
you'll be in big trouble.
Okay, so now let's go to the example of you 2.
Okay.
So you guys have your homestead where you're living, but he also has a house that he owned before you guys were married. Since she's my client, and we're still going to investigate if that house was purchased with your ex or not, we'll find out. What happens is that it's considered still community property. However, from your position, you can say it's separate property because I owned it before the marriage. Now, you can ask for reimbursement.
For all the
Meaning
expense.
that all of the money that was put into the home during the marriage, that part is 50-50. Okay?
We have to provide receipts, correct?
Well, everything should be documented. Okay. That's preferable. But it's all subject to who has, I guess, the best attorney representing them.
Oh, wow. This has happened a lot. Like a lot of, oftentimes than I've seen with my experience, we see someone married, but the husband moving into the house she bought, and all of a sudden he decided to take on the financial responsibility. And even if it's her house, he helped a little bit, not a little, we start paying the mortgage for her. Then they get married, buy something else. So I see that a lot. So he can still claim a little bit of that house when they get divorced.
Well, not speaking as an attorney right now, but I say that's my house. You're welcome. You live there and paid some rent for a little while. That's how I'd approach it. But no, realistically what it is that, yes, that was her property. And even though it's under her name, but the fact that they were still making payments on the house during the marriage, that means that it is subject to being community property.
Okay.
You can sign a contract. You guys can agree when you're in a marriage to have something as separate property if both parties agree to it. However, the norm is that it's community property.
Okay.
when it is time for a divorce, when you are filing your divorce petition and you are listing assets that you have, properties that you have, you can put on there that I am claiming this as my separate property. Okay. I own this. I purchased this prior to the marriage. Although we put contributions and we made payments towards it during the marriage, I'm still claiming it as my separate property. And so what ends up happening at the end of the day is, let's go back to the example of you two having your homestead, your house together, and then you have 2 rental homes and your house in Costa Rica, right? So what happens is that when you divide up the property and you say, who's going to get what? Because the best deal isn't always necessarily that you sell the house and split the profits.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you guys are getting divorced, but there's still children, to think about. And it's in the best interest of the children. What are we going to do for the children? Because life has to go forward. And you don't want to completely disrupt their lives. So you look at how much each property is worth. So let's say everything in total is $100. Okay. So that means you have $50, you have $50.
Okay.
Okay. So the house where you're living is worth $10. Okay. And so that's five. You have to take the value of everything, split it up to try to make it equal, that everyone walks away with at least as close to 50% as possible.
Okay.
Unless you had a lover, and we're going to try to make sure she gets more than that 50% because you messed up.
So in that instance, if I did have somebody else, does that come into play with my divorce as far as how assets are split up?
Well, what do you mean somebody you cheated or?
I cheated.
Oh yeah, we're gonna use that against you, my friend.
Well,
attorney.
We're going to use it against you. I'm representing my client here. No, realistically, what happens is that, like, it is a very emotional experience, and people cry, they are upset, they want to get even, they want to hurt each other, or sometimes they're very amicable and say, you know what, we are just not compatible anymore. We want to just walk away and go our separate ways. However, we have to divide these assets that we have. So it just depends on the dynamic of the divorce, and it depends on the couple, because sometimes it's not even worth bringing all that up because it is public records. Like, people can actually go online and read your business and know what's happening. So do you really want all of that out there?
No.
You know what you were doing?
Quick question. Yeah. How about a prenup? Would a prenup, if me and my wife came up with a prenup beforehand, right? And we put that together, would that be able to stand in court as far as the community property rule of thumb, as far as how assets are divided?
So prenups are really good. So it's good when people have prenups. Prenups are really good, especially if you already own property and you have assets and you are using perhaps the rent money that you have from properties that you previously owned to purchase more properties. So prenups are a good way of assuring the fact that those stay your separate property.
Gotcha.
Does the prenup expire? Like, if you write that, does it eventually expire one day? Like, if you're married for 20-some years, it's still in place, or it's like it has an expiration date in general? I was just wondering.
No. It's supposed to be good the whole time of the marriage. You have the ability to go and change it. Okay. So that's called a postnuptial agreement.
Got it.
So you can change it, or that's also how you can make something your own separate property that you, let's just say, now that you're doing real estate and you decided, you know what, I'm going to start buying my own houses separate and I'm going to have this business. Even though you go and purchase a house and you put it only under Danielle's name, you have it only under your name, it doesn't mean that your husband is not half owner of that property.
It still is, also because I know at closing I have a lot of clients, the spouse needs to come and sign to at least acknowledge the sale or the purchase.
Exactly.
So,
and also, if you pay attention at your closing, I'm sure you've come across this before, is that the spouse has to sign, acknowledge the purchase, and sometimes I find that at the closings they have a clause that they can sign to acknowledge the fact that it's going to be separate property.
Okay.
And so then that would alleviate the need to have to do a post-nuptial agreement. However, I would still say to do one to make it very clear, because It's just on the closing document.
But who put that on the paper that they acknowledge it's going to be separate property? Who put that in there? Because none of my clients, they never had that question asked. If you want to put that as together or it's going to be separate property. I just know that they have to come, and most of the time they don't read those documents they sign from the lender or the title. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I've done it before, actually for my parents, that my mom purchased a house. And it was going to be hers completely separate, and she has plans for it, and it was going to go towards a cousin of mine, not for me, her daughter, or anybody like that. And so to assure that my father wasn't going to make any changes if something were to happen for her, we told the lender from the beginning, and so that was a clause that was added onto there.
Added that verbiage.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you have to tell them at the beginning.
Yeah.
If not, they're going to just do what's standard.
Yeah. But it is preferable to also have better. So things are very crystal clear to have an agreement between the spouses that you can go ahead and register with the property records to show that this is separate property. Then that way, in the future, if you are getting a divorce, it's on record. This is my separate property. You agreed to it. It's not just at the closing that, you went and signed and you didn't understand. No, we have this on record that this is yours. It has nothing to do with us.
And we're not going to fight about it when we separate.
Exactly.
Even if I cheated on you.
Yes.
That's it.
Even if I cheated on you. That's exactly how it goes. Yeah. But it makes a really big difference, because also you have to think about in the family dynamic that sometimes when people get married, they have, they had kids in the past. Like, let's say they were married once upon a time, or if they weren't married, they have children, and now they get married and they're having new children,
that scares me sometimes. That scares me sometimes. I thought about it one time, like with my husband, we tried to accumulate property and do businesses and stuff like that. If one day I die a little sooner, pray God, I'm going to be here until all my kids give me great grandkids. But in the event I'm leaving sooner, and if my husband remarried and I want him to be eventually happy without me, right? But then we have 4 children together. Yeah. And then he has a whole new wife who's like 25 years younger than me. And I pass, and unfortunately he passed also. Then everything that we own fall back with her because she's the spouse.
Well, she would be the nurse.
Oh my God. That's scary when you think about it, younger.
No, but that is very true, and that's exactly what happens. So that is why
we need a will.
Yes, wills are very important. It's very important, but let's just say you don't have a will. So let's go back to the fact that everything here in Texas is 50-50, okay? So in the case that you're talking about, you pass away and you guys have your house, and then he has a new wife. So by default, everything goes to him.
Yeah.
Even if, because this is what I find that happens a lot, literally all the time with my clients, that 25 years ago, we got married. Let's say when we were like in our 20s, we got married, okay? Then when we were like 28, we decided, you know what, this isn't working out. Like our kids are like, 7, 8, sometimes 15, 16, depending on when we start having kids, and we split. You go on, you get your new person, and you have your kids, and I have someone else, and I move into that person's house. You buy a new house with your new person, and you have your kids. You have more kids, and we still have children together. And lo and behold, you go into the hospital. Who's going to help you? Who's going to make those decisions legally, technically?
It's still you.
It's still me. I'm still your wife.
Yeah. Okay? So the kids.
So lo and behold, what happens is that when you pass, I bank. I collect.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Yes, there's argument. There's room for argument there because, your current partner, because it can't be your spouse, because you can't get married to someone when you're still married to someone else.
Yeah.
That new person or your current person has room to argue to say, like, hey, we were sharing life together. I should be able to collect some money or at least receive a percentage. But then you also have to factor in the children that we had together,
Yeah.
and also the children that you have now with your new life
Spouse.
partner.
So
Yeah. But technically, on paper in Texas,
yeah, the
everything
spouse.
goes to your spouse because it is community property state. If you don't have a will, that means that you die intestate and everything goes to your spouse. That's why divorces, unfortunately, it is very important that if you are going to separate and you own property and you decide to keep buying property and you're going to have rental homes or you're going to rehab, or even if you want to refinance a home and the house was originally under both of your names and you're separated, like that person still needs to sign off on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Your 401k, everything
Everything.
is subject to be split amongst one another. So if you're not going to be together, you need to get a divorce.
So the moral of the story, as we say in French, is make sure you have everything in written. Like, make sure you protect yourself, your children when you have them, and then your spouse if your spouse is with you. But have everything in written, and then always consult with somebody. You know, people sometimes they don't want to go see a lawyer or financial advisor or any one of these people that do this kind of type of job because they're scared of the price. Sometimes this is nothing. You know, consult with an expert. And how much money you're going to save down the line for yourself and avoid a headache for yourself.
And
in the
Google
future.
is not a legal expert.
Yeah, Google will tell you whatever.
Google or YouTube are not a replacement for attorneys.
You hear that, guys?
Yes.
You hear that?
Yeah. So make sure we had some very good information. I learned a lot today. I thought I knew, but my brain is a little bit bigger
And
today.
this is just the beginning of it because each case is very different. The details really make a difference because there is no one set path of how a divorce works, how property is going to be split up, and each case is very different. And then that's why it's exactly what you said. It's very important to consult legal advice.
Yes, and
Not
have
Google.
everything in written.
Yeah. So if people want to get in contact with you, how can I get in contact with you?
They can call me at, I don't know if you can see the number, but it's 713-609-9573, or you can go online to penyawarelaw.com. My name is Janie Ware, W-A-R-E. My office is 915 Broadway in Houston, Texas, Southeast Houston.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you at the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of Let's Keep It Real today. So we have a special dear and guest to my heart. We have here Miss Jenny Pena. And then, of course, Abu with EMP Lending is here.
It's actually Janie Ware. Pena is my married name, but I didn't change it. I'm Janie Ware.
Okay, let me repeat that. We have Miss Jenny Ware. Do I say the Pena or no? Just stop at Ware.
It's Janie Ware. A veces usa Pena. Sometimes I use Pena, but I am officially Janie Ware.
Well, I don't blame you because I go by Danielle Bilumbu. My husband's name is Leach, so I just added it like 6 months ago.
Okay.
His name to my ID. He was so happy.
Very good.
I just did. So, Jenny, talk to us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Janie Ware, or maybe Janie Pena, depending on the day, I guess, or unless I'm at the kids' school. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas, in Southeast Houston. I have my office, 915 Broadway, phone number 713-609-9575. I went to law school here in Houston. I've been practicing here for almost 10 years now. I do immigration, I do family law, car accidents, probate, a little bit of everything. Hopefully I can help my clients with. If not, I refer you out to someone else. And that's what I do. And I know today we're here talking about family law and how that mixes with property and property rights.
Yeah, that's very important because we do oftentimes have people looking to buy, sell, unfortunately getting divorced, which is not fun. And I'm divorce certified also. And then, you know, they have the property in the middle of it. And also, we also, from time to time, people passed away, you know, and kids have no idea what to do with the property. Sometimes they're, mom passed away, I'm going to just sell the house. No. It doesn't always happen like that. It's a process.
Yes.
It's a process.
It is a process. And also the side of town where my office is located, I deal with a lot of people that are undocumented. And with that, they don't speak English. They don't necessarily understand property law and nor family law or anything like that. Sometimes my clients don't even read and write. And so I help navigate them through the system and help them figure out what to do because these people work hard and they pay cash for a lot of things. Most of the time they own their property full right. They haven't gotten a mortgage through a lender or anything like that. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of like for sale by owner and they have their contracts notarized. So all of that makes it complicated when people have to realize at the end of the day, I have to go to court and the judge has to sign off on things. But it works out.